Have you noticed how some people pull back when someone points a camera at them? It's not just passing discomfort. It's something that happens in the body before the mind even understands, as if something inside said no. Wait, not now. Maybe you've felt this. That tightness in your chest, that urge to turn your face away, to say you don't like photos. And then comes the question, why does this happen? Why do some people feel such strong repulsion? The easy answer would be to say it's shyness, insecurity about one's own appearance. And it might be that sometimes. But let's explore if there's something more happening underneath. Because there's a difference between looking in the mirror and not liking what you see, and feeling deep unease when someone tries to capture you in an image. In the mirror, you're still in control. You can change the angle, make another expression, leave whenever you want. But in the photo, you're trapped. That instant becomes your representation. And maybe that's what bothers you, not your appearance itself, but the fact that a single second will try to sum up who you are. Think with me for a moment. When they take your photo, what exactly is being captured? Your eyes, yes, your expression that day too. But is that really you? Can a click show everything you carry, everything you're living through, everything transforming inside you? Maybe the discomfort comes precisely from that, from the feeling that you're far more than that image can show. You're always changing, always feeling new things, always becoming another version of yourself. And a photo freezes all of that, takes something alive and turns it into something still. And some part of you knows that's not right. So maybe it's not about overcoming the fear of photos. Maybe it's about understanding what you're feeling when the camera appears. And the first thing worth exploring is this. What exactly happens to a moment when it's photographed? When someone takes a photo of a beautiful moment, something strange happens. You're living something, truly feeling it, and suddenly someone says, wait, let me photograph this. And everything stops. The moment that was flowing naturally now needs to be staged. You need to smile again, look at the camera, hold the pose. What was spontaneous becomes performance. What really happens in that click? It's not just the moment that changes, it's the relationship you have with it. Before the photo, you were inside the experience, feeling the air, hearing the sounds around you, living it with your whole body. After the photo, you're on the outside, looking at an image, trying to prove it happened. As if you needed proof, as if living wasn't enough. Something curious happens with photographed memories. You remember the photo, not the moment. You try to recall in your mind what that day was like, and what comes is the image you've seen so many times after. The pose, the smile, the framing, but the smell of that place, what you were feeling inside, the conversation that happened right before, that disappears. The photo replaced the real memory with a packaged, arranged, dead version. Some people pull back when the camera appears because they want to remember truly. They want to keep the moment as something alive inside them, something that can still change shape in memory, that can still gain new meanings as time passes. Memory isn't an archive. Memory is something that breathes with you, that grows, that transforms. When you photograph everything, you stop feeling with the same intensity. You start living thinking about how it will look later, instead of how it's being now. The discomfort with photos can come from this perception. Each click steals a piece of your ability to be present. You're trading experience for record, life for proof. And it's not just the moment that gets trapped in the photo, you do too. When you look at a photo of yourself, something strange happens. You know it's you there, but at the same time it seems like it's not, as if the person in the image were a version of you that you don't fully recognize. And this isn't just about liking or not liking your own appearance. It's about not recognizing yourself in that frozen version. When you're living day to day, you're not just one thing. You wake up one way, change throughout the day depending on what happens, who you meet, what you feel. There's the version that shows up at work, the version that shows up with family, the version that stays alone at home, the version no one sees. And all of them are true. All of them are you. When someone takes a photo, which of these versions is being captured? Usually just the outside one, the social mask, the one you put on when you know you're being observed. The depth doesn't appear. What you were really feeling in that moment, what was going through inside, that stays invisible. The photo only catches the surface. And something else happens too. When someone photographs you, you stop being yourself, living life. You become an image for someone else to look at, as if you transformed into an object. This touches something deep, because nobody wants to be reduced to an object. Nobody wants to be just an image that others judge. Comment on keep or discard. The discomfort may not be with the camera itself. It may be with the fact that photo will only show a piece of you, and people will think that piece is the whole. They'll look at that image and think they know you, when in reality you're much more complex, much deeper, much more than any photo can show. If you've ever looked at a photo of yourself and thought that's not really me, you're noticing something important. Something about refusing to be imprisoned in a single image of yourself. You're never the same person 2 days in a row. Not in the literal sense, but in the sense that you're always changing, always learning something new, always feeling different, always seeing the world in a slightly different way than you saw before. You're not a fixed thing. You're a process, something that's always becoming. The photo does the opposite. It takes you in a single second and says, "This is it. This is how you are." And that image stays there frozen in time while you keep changing, keep growing, keep transforming. But the photo doesn't change. It stays trapped in that moment forever. Looking at old photos causes that strange feeling. You look and think, who is this person? Because you're not that anymore. You've changed, but the photo insists on saying you still are. There's something suffocating in that, as if the image wanted to trap you in a version of you that no longer exists. Some people avoid the camera thinking not just of the present moment, but of the future, knowing that photo will exist forever, showing a version they'll have already surpassed, showing someone they were being that day, but who doesn't represent everything they are, and much less everything they'll still become. Life is movement. You're always in transit, always adjusting who you are as things happen. The photo tries to interrupt that, tries to say stop, stay like this. The discomfort you feel comes exactly from this attempt to pause something that shouldn't be paused, to try to define something that is, by nature, indefinable. Deep down, you know it's not possible to sum up who you are in an image. You know there are layers, there's depth, there are things inside you that a camera will never be able to capture. Refusing the photo can be a way to protect that, to protect your right to keep changing, to keep being multiple, to keep being free. What are you protecting when you turn away from the camera? There's an enormous difference between hiding something and protecting something. When you hide, it's because you're ashamed. When you protect, it's because you know that thing is too valuable to be exposed. And this difference changes everything when we think about people who avoid photos. What's being protected when you turn away from the camera? Your freedom to not yet be fully defined, to still be able to discover yourself, transform yourself, reinvent yourself without an old image staying there reminding everyone of who you used to be. You're keeping the possibility of still becoming. Think about the most important things that have ever happened to you, the real changes, the true transformations. Did you photograph them? Probably not. The things that truly change you happen in silence. They happen when you're alone, thinking, feeling, processing, not when you're posing for a camera. There are parts of you that shouldn't be captured. That should remain intimate, invisible, protected. Keeping certain things just for yourself has its own beauty. Not needing to prove you lived something for it to be real. Knowing that the deepest experiences don't fit in any photo because they happen on the inside, where no camera reaches. When you refuse the photo, you might be saying, I'm more than this. I have layers you won't understand by looking at an image. And this isn't arrogance. It's awareness. It's knowing you don't need to reduce yourself to fit into anyone's frame. People will judge you by the photo anyway. They'll look and decide things about you based on a frozen second. They'll think they know you because they saw an image. But you know the truth. You know there's much more happening inside you than any photo could capture. Protecting that isn't fear. There's something even bigger that happens when you choose to stay out of the lens. People who photograph everything seem to always be half absent. They're there physically, but their head is already in the after, already thinking about how it will look in the post, who will see it, how many likes it will get. They're not really living the moment. They're documenting it. There's a giant difference between these two things. When you truly live something, you're present. You feel the wind on your face. Hear the sounds around you. Notice the small details that make that moment unique. When you're worried about recording, you step out of the experience. You become an observer of your own life instead of living it. Think about your most vivid memories, the ones you can remember clearly that still move you. How many of those did you photograph? Probably few. The strongest memories don't need photos. They're stored in a different, deeper way. They're engraved in sensation, in smell, in the emotion you felt. That's much more powerful than any image. People who avoid photos may have discovered something precious. Keeping things inside yourself, instead of turning them into images for others to see, makes those things remain alive, makes them continue being truly yours, not just records of what once was. There's enormous freedom in that. The freedom to live without needing to prove, to feel without needing to show, to exist fully without turning every moment into content for others' consumption. That freedom is rare these days. When you find it, something changes completely in how you relate to your own life. We've arrived here at this point in the journey, and maybe you're seeing everything differently now. That discomfort you felt when someone pointed the camera, that desire to turn away, to refuse, makes more sense now. Not as something that needs to be fixed, but as something that deserves to be understood. Avoiding photos was never about shyness or insecurity. It was about perceiving, even without words, that you're too big to fit in an image, that you're always changing, always transforming, and that no photo can keep up with that. When you understand this, something interesting happens. You stop feeling strange for refusing the camera. You stop thinking you need to force yourself to like photos just because everyone likes them. You start to see your choice for what it really is, a way to protect your own fluidity, to keep alive what the photo would kill. Next time someone wants to photograph you and you feel that tightness, pay attention to what you're truly feeling. It's not fear, it's not shame, it's you protecting something precious. It's you choosing to keep the moment in a truer, more alive, more yours way. There's power in that, a quiet power of existing without needing proof, of living fully knowing that the most important things don't need to be seen by anyone. They only need to be felt. They only need to be real for you. You don't need a photo to prove you exist. You don't need an image to validate that you lived something. You simply live, and that's already enough. Next time, instead of forcing yourself to smile for the camera, you simply choose to stay out. Not from fear, but by choice. Not from insecurity, but from wisdom. And in that choice, you find something rare. The freedom to be entirely yourself without needing to fit into anyone's frame. You've just discovered something profound about identity and perception. But there's another layer few people see. What happens when you choose to live completely invisible in the digital world? Click on the video on the screen now.